Hello everyone, welcome to the June month art and culture session. This is June month, right? Okay, so we're going to start. So starting with the first one, that is Tala Madel, that is a form of the Yakshagana theatre, right? Yakshagana is a very important theatre art in your static in art and culture. You must have read about it. And this Tala Madel, I'm not pronouncing it right, but this is what it is. So it's basically Yakshagana minus the dance, the costumes, and the stage conventions, right? So it's the Yakshagana spoken words without any dance or costume. So in the times of the pandemic, it has gone digital, and that's what the news was all about. So the question can come that what this is. It can be a very easy question, right? And then they can ask about the Yakshagana itself. So Yakshagana, as we discussed, is a traditional theatre form of the Karnataka. So obviously, the themes of it belongs to the mythological stories and the Puranas, performed with the massive headgears you can see, and many of the percussion instruments that are being used. Uh, for example, chenda, madadam, jagata. What you have to remember that many of the percussion instruments are there. That's it. So percussion instruments you can relate to, for example, tabla or these drums. These are basically the percussion instruments. Okay, right. And as it belongs to the Karnataka, so the majority time the recital is being done in the Kannada. Next is Pashupatinath temple. The location is in Nepal, right? So it is located on the banks of the Bagmati river in the Nepal. It is a World Heritage Site in the 5th century, developed by the Malla kings, but not important for us as the temple does not lie in India itself. So it's in the news because a development partnership between India and the Nepal has been signed to construct some sanitation facility at this Pashupatinath temple. Actually, many people in India belonging to the Hindu religion goes to the Pashupatinath to for like religious tourism purposes. Okay, right. Next is the Malabar Rebellion of the 1921. So this is called very famous rebellion from the history. You must have read about it. It was done in the context in the times of the Khilafat movement, right? The Khilafat movement was gaining ground. So it is also known as the Mapilla or Mopla rebellion. Actually, 100 years of this rebellion has completed, and that is why it was in the news. Who was the leader of this rebellion was Kunhamad Ji Haji. Okay, he was familiar with the commemoration of the martyrs who fought against the tyranny of the landlords and their helpers. So basically, the landlords were the Britishers, their helpers were the Hindus. Those were the landlords, and those were the upper caste Hindus. Right. So the history of Malabar Rebellion that can come in your main exam as well. But for a prelims purposes, you just need to know the location of it, the context of it. Okay, Ali Musiar, the local leader, was arrested. That became the context. Then they went against the Britishers, but as the Hindu landlords were helping those Britishers, they also became, and that also became a symbol of the communal riots as well. Okay, so the rebellion also got a communal angle. Actually, the region itself has a history of conflicts between this. You can see the class wars. So the landlords versus the people, the cultivators, those were there, or the landless farmers, those were there, right? So it has a history of the conflicts were there. Secondly, the cause was also seen as a political mobilization during the Khilafat movement. It was also seen. And thirdly, the immediate cause, as we discussed, the arrest of the local leader. So these were the causes for this Malabar rebellion. Next is Chaulung Sukhapa. So what is this? So Chaulung Sukhapa is basically, it was in the news because actually he is the Ahom ruler. He is the founder of the Ahom kingdom. So Ahom kingdom who ruled Assam for 6 centuries. So in the 13th century, they came to this place. They came from the area from the Burma. Okay, and Ahom dynasty. You must have read that very famous dynasty was there, right? So their rule is still celebrated in the Assam in the form of the Asom Divas on I think 2nd of December. It is being celebrated. They are widely referred to as architects of the Bor Assam or the Greater Assam. Now, recently they have been referred to as Chinese invader, and that is why it has been in the news. So, basically, from Myanmar they have come from this side, and they have settled in this Brahmaputra Valley, that is in the Assam only, that is Assam. Okay, then what happened? 6th century later, they kept it, they built on it, they expanded their empire. Then what happened? The Burmese, if you know the context of the Anglo-Burmese war, so Burmese also wanted to expand there. So that provided context to the Britishers to put the Burmese to rest. So when the Burmese invasion of the Assam happened and ultimately annexation by the British East India Company happened after the Treaty of Yandabo, and Ahom also got into this British Empire. Some of the details of it are not very important, actually they are mentioned in the current affairs, that is why we have to go through it. So basically system of forced labor was prevalent in the Ahom kingdom, right? These labors were called the pikes. Okay, so this word you can remember, that these labor, this forced labor, these are called pikes. And Hinduism was a prominent religion, however they also have their own cult religion, right? Tribal worships, so those were also there. Next is Project Mausam, very famous project of not current affairs, but Project Mausam remains in news. It's a very famous project of government, basically cultural led project. So ASI, that is Archaeological Survey of India, is the nodal agency for this project with the support of the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts. So the idea is to explore the multifaceted Indian Ocean, the world of Indian Ocean. Okay, so basically the idea of the this Project Mausam comes at two levels. First is at the macro level and second is at the micro level. At the macro level, they want to connect and re-establish the communication between the countries of the Indian Ocean. Okay, so basically the idea is basically to have a cultural linkage. You can see this program also in the context of the string of pulse policy of the China also. So it is a counter of India by invoking its cultural heritage in this region, right? By also linking this extended neighborhood, India's part of extended neighborhood, or you can say part of the maritime neighborhood. Okay, so a cultural angle to it or soft power angle to it is done by the Project Mausam. Facts related to it, ISI is there, right? Two components, macro level and micro level. At the micro level, the focus on the national understanding of the national culture, right, in the regional milieu. Okay, an idea is also to connect this ocean center to their hinterlands. So this additional point you need to keep in mind. This can, if the third option is like that, it can be remembered like that. So this is Project Mausam. Next is Center Vistas project, very controversial project. Actually, this is in the news. So who is heading it up? That is CPWD, that is Central Public Works Department, is heading this project under the Ministry of the Housing and Urban Affairs. So actually this project, especially in the times of the pandemic, is being challenged. Okay, so they want to create a new parliament building. So they want to construct a triangular parliament building in this a big plot, and this is said to be, in fact many of the videos have come that have criticized this project, so as to say, because it's just like it will cost a lot of money, 20,000 crore worth of the project, that is Central Vistas project. Okay, so it will retain this old building, that is North Block, South Block, those will be made, or existing parliament building will become a museums. So it was challenged in the Supreme Court. Then CPWD says that no, later on we'll have some benefits out of it, we'll have extended arrangements to sit, and later on we can have profit from it. But at the time of the pandemic, in fact 2 days ago only, some pictures have shown up that showing that some construction works have started on the Central Vistas project. But the government has to think about it, that whether we have such kind of money to spend in such lavish projects, isn't it? Next is Sankalp Parv. So it is a parv from Ministry of Culture. So the idea is to plant the trees. Sankalp Parv, to plant trees. The confusion can be there. One can link this Sankalp Parv to Ministry of Education and relate it to some education thing. But remember, it is related to the plantation. Okay. So they are thinking to plant these 5 plants, that is Bargad, Avla, peepal, ashok, and bale. These are the 5 medicinal plants that will be planted there under the Ministry of Culture. Next and the last, Kushinagar. So Kushinagar is in the news because the cabinet has approved the declaration of the Kushinagar airport in the UP as an international airport. Kushinagar becomes a very, very important point of our Buddhist tourism also. Okay, so it is a part of the Buddhist pilgrimage and the part of the Buddhist circuit. Okay, because here Buddha attained Mahaparinirvana, and this is what you need to remember. This is a very basic Buddhism stuff. So Mahaparinirvana in Buddhism refers to the ultimate state of nirvana, state of blowing out. What we say, just like a candle blows out. Similarly, our body also blows out. There is no after earth, after, just like a rebirth. This like a soul concept is not there in the Buddhism. That is everlasting soul is not there in the Buddhism. Just like we have in the Vedanta or in the philosophy of Hinduism. So nirvana, everlasting, highest peace and happiness, entered by an awakened being at the moment of the physical death. So Kushinagar Mahanibbana Stupa and Mukta Bandhan Stupa is there, right? Reclining Buddha is there, is this Mahaparinirvana Stupa. Okay. The site of the Kushinagar was first identified by very famous Mr. Alexander Cunningham in 1877. He was the first Director General of the ASI. In fact, whenever the question comes, the contribution of the Englishman to the Indian culture, this Mr. Alexander Cunningham is a very important figure in that. Okay. Some of the other places, if we see, so Bodh Gaya, everybody knows that he has attained enlightenment there. In Sarnath, the first sermon was there. In Lumini, obviously the birthplace. Kushinagar, the Mahaparinirvana. Other places also you try to plot those places in our map. The more you do the practices like this, the more you will improve upon it. Okay. So this is always a very good exercise to do. So that's the end of the session. Actually, in the June and July, I have tried to keep the sessions really small and trying to focus on the questions, as you have seen, right? In the defense also, we only have 2 to 3 facts to discuss in coming up. So the more focus is on the questions part. So let us see the first question. Which of the following statement is not correct with respect to the Bhakti Saint Ramanuja? So with respect to the Ramanuja, very important now. With respect to Ramanuja, which of the following statements is not correct? So he propounded the doctrine of Visishtadvait, deeply influenced by the Nayanar, proposed intense devotion as a means to achieve salvation, and suggested the Choda Ganga Deva to build a temple for the deity of Puri Jagannath. Okay, so try this question and I'll give you 5 seconds. You can pause the video and also tell me. Please, some students have told me, I think Midun has told me like how many marks he is getting. Please do tell in the comment box how much marks you are getting in these questions, right? How many of you getting right? 3 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, like that. So it's a really easy question actually. If you know something about Ramanuja, then you will be able to get it right. You must be knowing that he was a devotee of Vishnu. So if he is a devotee of Vishnu, he cannot be a Nayanar, right? He cannot be influenced by the Nayanar. Nayanars was devotee of the Shiva. We have discussed that last time as well. So the second option becomes wrong and that is the answer. But Mr. Ramanuja or Acharya Ramanuja, I should say, he was a very famous and very important figure in our art and culture. So Bhakti Saint, I should say. So he was born in Tamil Nadu. Actually, he was born in 12th century or he was in the 12th century. You remember in the 8th century, Adi Shankaracharya has come and he has established this intellectual tradition to achieve the salvation, that you need to have the Brahma Jnana, right? But when the Ramanuja has come, this intellectual tradition has basically taken many of the people, especially the people who are not very well read, those who belong to the lower caste, those who belong to the lowest rung, they did not find access or they could not understand this intellectual tradition. So hence, with the Ramanuja, try to provide a Madhyam Marga, I should say, between these two traditions, an intellectual tradition and the Bhakti tradition. He talked about the concept of Prapatti, that is a total reliance on the God, that you can attain salvation by the grace of the God, or you can attain salvation only and only by the grace of the God. When the God desires, then only you'll get the salvation. With intellectual effort, that is fine, that is required somewhat, but that is not the end. Without intellectual effort, you can also get the salvation with the grace of the God. That is the thing. Secondly, his philosophy's name was Visist Advaita. Okay, so Shankaracharya said that Brahma is unqualified monism, that Brahma cannot be defined, right? Whereas, or the Atma merges into Brahma. While Shankaracharya, this Ramanuja says, no, in the Brahma, the soul can also be identified separately. And that is qualified oneness. Though it is one, but it can be identified from the Brahma. The soul can be identified separately from the Brahma. Okay. So he also established the Ambar Mutt and suggested the king Choda Ganga Devi to establish temple at the Puri. So this is what you can focus. This is what you can remember, that he was the one who suggested this Choda Ganga Deva to build a temple for the deity at the Puri and Jagannath. Very important thinker in the Bhakti tradition. Okay, Ramanujacharya. Chalo. The next question is, so the answer is, he was not influenced, he was deeply influenced by the Alvars, not the Nayanars. He was influenced by the Alvars. Okay, the next question is, in 1908, Alipur, actually I have kept some static question in this question answer format so as to include some static or for revision sake, right? So the question is, in 1908, Alipur bomb case, he defended the Aurobindo Ghosh. He advocated the use of the Bengali language in the university exams. He objected to the withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement in 1922 by Gandhiji. He published his collection of poems in second volume called Malancha and Mala, who we are talking about. Okay, so basically these sort of questions we prepare in our personality in India series, right? Personality in history series. So few of the personality I've covered, but couldn't find time to complete that series. But still, I think 9 personalities we have covered. You can prepare some of them from here. For example, if you have read about Bipin Chandra Pal, you can directly eliminate Bipin Chandra Pal from there, because he was not active too much in the politics after 1905, right? After Swadeshi movement. So, what is the answer? You can pause the video and decide the answer, then you can also restart. Right. So, the answer is Mr. C.R. Das. You can also guess, actually, not completely, but you can guess that he objected to the withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement. If they would have mentioned the Swaraj Party then and there only, that would become a very easy question. But it was a bit of hint here. Okay. So Mr. C.R. Das, he was known as a Desh Bandhu, that is the friend of a nation, Desh Bandhu. His wife was Basanti Devi, who was said to be who Subhash Chandra Bose called Ma. So this fact you can remember. So C.R. Das successfully defended the Aurobindo Ghosh in the Alipur bomb case. We have discussed Aurobindo Ghosh in detail in our Personality in India series. You can see it there. His weekly was Vande Bharat. I think he worked with Aurobindo Ghosh and Bipin Chandra Pal along with them on this particular general. More importantly, he was president at Gaya, okay, in 1922, where he said that this withdrawal of NCM, what part one should take. So he wanted an entry into this legislative council to obtain an obstructionist view to the Britishers. So this is what it is all about. In 1924, he formed this. You can also see he formulated his communal pact. Okay, so communal pact was there to promote the permanent peace between the India's two communities, that is Hindus and Muslim. You need to focus that he died in 1925, and after that this Swaraj Party also, the fortunes of Swaraj Party also drowned in this, all because its main leader died, right? So it is pretty obvious. Okay, so answer is C.R. Das. So please remember that you can build a lot of content from these sessions. Chalo, next question is, consider the following statement with respect to the Asiatic Society of Mumbai. Its main objective was to promote the Western philosophy and the literature among the Indians. Second, it elected its first women president since its inception. Those who are watching sessions with us, I will recommend that please try to solve the questions, right? That will help you. Okay, so for example, let us apply some common sense. So the name is Asiatic Society of Mumbai. So if it's Asiatic Society of Mumbai, you can see it's Asiatic Society, right? So it will not only talk about the Western philosophy, it also talk main objective cannot be to talk about the Western philosophy because it's an Asiatic society. So statement one is ought to be wrong. If statement one is ought to be wrong, then second statement is no. That means first statement is wrong, right? This statement wrong, this statement wrong. Then you just need to know this fact, and this is right actually. They got the first women president, that is Asiatic Society of Bombay. It's mentioned in the newspaper, and that is why we have discussed it. So this is the second option is right, first option is wrong. Next question is again a personality based in the history paper question. He was a Muslim freedom fighter and a member of Indian National Congress. He co-founded the Naujawan Bharat Sabha with Bhagat Singh. He was one of the founding members of Jamia Millia Islamia. He opposed the Muslim League and the partition of India. He later left INC and joined the Communist Party after independence and received the Stalin/Lenin Prize. He was who he was. You have to prepare your that's not a good time to recommend you to way to prepare for modern history, but going forward you should focus on these personalities as well, because if you prepare like from personalities perspective, it will enrich your preparation. Okay, so answer is basically Saifuddin Kichlu. Few of the options you can eliminate. For example, Khan Bahadur Khan cannot be there. He was in the Pashtunistan in Pakistan, so he was not a part of the INC. So this thing you can eliminate. Later on, you can talk about that he did not Communist Party. So Abdul Kalam Azad cannot be there because he became the for education minister, so he cannot be there. So two options you have eliminated. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So name is not properly. It's Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Obviously, that's the wrong answer, right? So at least you eliminated the two options, and that increased the probability of getting the answer right. So he is Mr. Saifuddin Kichlu. You must have heard his name while in the Jallianwala Bagh Hatyakand. So basically, his arrest along with the Satyapal, two of the leaders, led to the people assemble in the park and protest against it. So people have gathered, they have protested against it, and they were protesting against the royal attack. They were arrested protesting against the royal attack, and the people came out to protest for their arrest. And then this horrific incident took place, Jallianwala Bagh massacre. More importantly, remember he co-founded the Naujawan Bharat Sabha along with the Bhagat Singh. So that's the one thing. Then he was the member of INC. Then he left and joined the Communist Party. And 1952 he was given the Lenin Prize. So he survived after the independence. This is one thing you can focus on. Okay, right. Next, so this is Saifuddin Kichlu. Next question: which of the following is not the part of the 5 great epics of the Tamil literature of the Sangam age? So which of the following is not the part of the 5 great epics of the Sangam literature, Tamil literature of the Sangam age? Very important and very good question. Good question, not in terms of the analytical part of it, but I will say good in terms that we will learn a lot out of this question. So in that term, this is a good question. And at this stage, you should always think not in terms of the evolution. You should always think in terms of the learning. So that will be a key to this prelims examination. Right. So you must be knowing at least few of them. For example, Silapadikaram, everybody knows. Manne Mekla, everybody knows. Tiruk. If you can identify, you can get the answer really fine, right? That this is not a part of the Sangam literature, or these are not the part of the 5 great epics of the Tamil literature. So what are these 5 great epics? You just need to know the names, and if you know the context also, then that becomes really good. So first is Silapadikaram, then we Manne Meklai, then Shivaka Chintamani, Chintamani, because these are the Tamil names, so pronunciations can be wrong. Then Valayapati, then Kundala Kesi. So these are the 5 Tamil epics. So let us see one by one. So Silapadikaram we have seen, it is a tale of an anklet, the story of the Kannagi and Kovalan, a very famous story we have discussed. I've shown you my personal photos as well, where we have taken this Pongala, right, in the Tiruvananthapuram. So this is Silapadikaram. The writer is Elango Edigal. It's a non-religious text in the 1st century. It's a Tamil epic. These are the few important details you need to keep in mind. Then we have Manne Meklai. Actually, it was, some people say that's a sequel to this Silapadikaram, the 6th century. So it's an anti-love story. So basically, the daughter of the Kovalan and Madhavi finally embraces the Buddhism after having some flirt with this love and everything. Okay. So basically, someone was chasing the daughter of Kovalan and Madhavi, and finally she embraced the Buddhism and the doctrines of the Mahayana Buddhism that is have been put here. So this is, you can remember that to which religion they belong, and this can be a really good question. You can also see the age of it. As I told that it's a sequel of the Silapadikaram. Not literally, but some people say that because the story is connected a bit, right? So you can remember the times as well. So that is Manne Meglai. Then we have Kundala Kesi. So it is basically a story of marriage, murder, then the girl embracing the religion. She killed his husband, she felt pity, and then finally she embraced the religion. Some story like that. So the writer is Nagasena, and it's a Buddhist religious text. So this is, you need to remember, Buddhist, Jain. Then we have Jain text, that is Chivakas Chintamani. So the writer is Tiru Kattevar. So it's a story of the prince who is born out of the king who was facing a coup. So it's similar to the Bahubali story, you can say. So the son goes out to become a Superman, like he has all the qualities. So that is the Jaina text. Then again we have a Jaina text. So we have 2 Jaina texts, 2 Buddhist texts, and one secular text, you can say. So you can remember it like that also. So Valayapati, it's a movie also being made in, I think, 1952. A movie has also been made. So it's a Jain religious text. Writer, we don't know. It's a story of the father who abandoned the son, and the son finally seeks his father. The father has 2 wives, and that's what the photo depicts. Right? So these are the 5 Tamil epics. So these are the 5 Tamil epics. So Silapadikaram, that is the secular one, non-religious. Then Manne Meklai, the Buddhist one. This is the Jain one. Okay, Kundal Kesi and Vilayapati, that is the Jain one, and that is the Buddhist one. So these are the few things you can remember. Okay, right. So this Thirukal, we have discussed this. Thiruvallur, just near to in the Kanyakumari, if you go, that's the first is the Swami Vivekananda statue. Then nearby him, this is Thiruvallur statue. And Thiruvallur, I have also told you, very important, because this year economic survey have mentioned a lot of couplets of the Thiruvallur, right? So it's a Tamil text containing a lot of couplets and curals. It's dealing with everyday virtues of the individual. So it is a booklet that is related to the ethics of morality, Thiruvallur. So it is also known as Universal Veda or Universal Code of Conduct. It's a very, very good, some of the couplets are being used in the economic survey. Too many couplets, I should say. So we have read about Thiruvallur. So he was a poet saint. 1 second. Yes, he was a Tamilian poet saint. He thought to be linked to the Jainism, but he was actually belonged to the Hinduism. Tirukarukal, his book name is or known as the Curals, couplets, and many of the couplets are there. If you go to this place, I have actually been to this place recently, I think before this COVID-19. So a very beautifully made, very beautiful sculptures, and very beautifully all these messages are also inscribed in there. So it's a very beautiful place to see. So the answer is Tirukural. That is not a Tamil epic. The 5 great Tamil epic, it is not one of them. So this is what you need to remember, and that is why I gave you a lot of information in there as well. And that's being the sole purpose of these 5 questions. So everyone, that's the end of the session. Let us quickly see what we have discussed and let us quickly finish this session. We started with the discussion on Tala Mandil, that is a form of the Yakshagana only. So Yakshagana, that is not without dance or costume. Then we discussed about Pashupatinath temple. Then we discussed about Malabar rebellion. Then we talked about this Chaolong Sukhapa, that is in the Ahom kingdom. Then we talked about Project Mausam, Central Vistas project, Sankalp Parva, that is Ministry of Culture, planting trees, Santar Vista project, basically the parliament, building a new parliament building. Then Kushinagar, we discussed the new airport is coming up. Then we some of the places we discussed related to Buddhism. Try to use a lot of maps, a lot of timelines, a lot of diagrams in art and culture preparation. The few questions, first related to Ramanujam, second related to the C.R. Das, third related to Saifuddin Kichlu, fourth related to Saifuddin Kichlu, third related to the Asiatic Society of Mumbai. So first female president they got, and lastly the 5 great Tamil epics. So that's the end of the session, everyone. So this is the June month again. As I told you, it's a June month. Wrong PPT, long slide I have kept. But it's a June month art and culture finished, and then we'll have the July month and we'll carry on. Okay then, see you in the next class. Bye bye for now. Thank you everyone.